evening and welcome to the Fantasy Panda YouTube channel where we're here to talk about everything FPL. So we've had a few days off over the last few weeks with the international break where some of us got some sun, shall we say, and had a nice little break. We've had a couple of little international fixtures in between where fortunately I went to see England and scored 9 goals. However, I did miss Kosovo's early goal. Bit of a chaotic day in FPL, as you know. Some of you have been watching the Norwich-Man City game, and for all the hype about Norwich having no players due to injury and having two new players at the back, and they've won one of the biggest upsets of the Premier League this season will probably happen, and one of the biggest ones I can remember since probably Newcastle beat Man City last year. Liverpool fans are probably licking their lips, but as you know, City could probably put a big run together between now and then. But in terms of FPL, disaster in terms of the Man City, having Ederson and Walker, just looking over to the right hand side of my screen. Ederson Walker at the back combined 2 points against a team that you'd really fancy for relegation. I know Pukki's firing goals and Campbell's have been a bit of a gem, but Norwich strength and depth really. Grant Hanley was playing not long ago with injuries, and I thought they'd be contenders to go down, but after today's viewing, you have to say fair play to them. Going from there, Robertson with his 5, he finally got an assist. I think it was his first assist of the season. In the first game, he's outscored Trent. Trent was unlucky. I thought Trent looked very dangerous in that game. But yeah, Robertson 5, and then another game goes begging with Liverpool without a clean sheet, where really they should have had one. But you know, it's all laws of probability that they're not going to have one every single time. Loughton for Burnley, well, I put him in a week earlier ahead than I wanted to. I obviously got on my wild card from week 4. He's got another 2 points today. I thought Brighton were going to steal all 3. Neil Maupay finally scored, even though I took him out a couple of weeks on the wild card. But Brighton always, if you give them half a chance and they stick in games, they can put the ball down the other end of the pitch. And Jeff Hendricks, probably not the name would have thought to score. Ashley Barnes would have been up there, and Ashley Westwood, and a few of the other players that get involved. My mate Dwight McNeil had another quiet day apparently in terms of FPL points. But with the Burnley fixtures changing, I think there's a way looking forward to getting involved with their team away from Barnes, but maybe with your McNeils and your Hendricks, etc. To see who can get you them points that people aren't getting from Burnley, and obviously with the back 4 getting clean sheets. So I think Pope's very highly rated anyway, and very highly owned for a goalkeeper of a budget order. So yeah, Burnley are a team to look out for as their fixtures change in the next few weeks. Mason Mount, what do I say about Mason Mount? He's been an absolute gem in fantasy so far. Chelsea scoring 5 away at Wolves. You know, it's the Europa League curse for Wolves, unfortunately. You know, I personally thought Wolves would win the game. Chelsea throwing that lead against Sheffield United, everyone was not impressed. I know they dropped Zuma, which was who got 1 point in 4 weeks for me on fantasy. I think 1 point. So I was glad to see the back of him out of their team today. And you have to credit Chelsea for scoring 5 away at Wolves, fantastic. And Tammy Abraham scoring 3. I know he got an own goal as well, so in theory he scored 4, if you want to joke that way. But what a find he's been as well for 7 mil if you've put him in and got this purple patch with him. Mason Mount obviously got 2 bonus again today. It hasn't updated on here yet, but I've just seen on a tweet that his bonus points are in, so I've just screenshot this a little bit too early. So he actually got 9 points today, joint top scorer of my team with Salah. So 6 mil, and I think he's now 6.4. I've made a little bit of money on him. He's probably one of the players that's brought me out of the hole that I was in real bad at the start of the season. So good on him. De Bruyne, well, the most informed player in the Prem, you know, he's the best player in the league, and then you're playing Norwich, and I think Guardiola's got an eye to the Champions League, and yeah, I think he's just going to take it easy, rest him, and then it's all blown up in their face, obviously. And when he come on, he just looks class. I think they were definitely missing him, and with Stones not a Mendy at the back, well, I won't say anything about that. I think I tweeted out halfway through the game that Carl Walker's their best centre half without Laporte, and I believe that because Mendy just dreadful, and that pass inside. You know, it's like watching England at times in the Nations League. Give just suicide football, just absolute suicide, and you just have to kind of beg a belief. And you can see Guardiola having a conversation with staff with Arteta and that saying, signaling, why don't you play up the pitch, play forward? You know, he wasn't even looking, didn't even face both goals. He never knew Buendia was coming, and Buendia, fantastic bit of pressing, and you know, he was well alert. And one of the players I liked at the start of the season, but just haven't found a way for him in my team yet. But obviously with Grealish potentially coming out, I think Buendia could be going in. But De Bruyne, you know, he's got his 1 point, and going forward, you know you're going to score more as the weeks go on, so you don't panic with that, and you just let him roll. Mohamed Salah obviously lost out to Mane today. It seems to be back and forth with those two. One of them gets a 15-point haul. What Salah got against Arsenal, and Mane gets 15-point haul. But the Salah goal, you know, and then nicking the 2 bonus from Firmino was a touch. Getting 18 as captain, I was certainly worried when Mane was scoring, and then you obviously see all the captains on Aguero and Sterling, and if someone said to me Mane would score 2 and Salah would be your second highest captain out of in my league, that everyone had Mane, Sterling and Aguero, coming in at 3 o'clock, after seeing the Liverpool result and Man City sort of playing Norwich with Norwich's injuries apparently and all this stuff. I'd have snapped your hand off at 3 o'clock to say Salah would be getting outscoring Aguero and Sterling. So I was really happy with that. Grealish obviously plays on Monday Night Football as well as Haller. So that'd be quite interesting. I never really have players that hang over too much. I usually get all mine through on the, always seems to be on the Saturday and maybe one on the Super Sunday. So it'd be nice to have 2 on Monday football, especially I've already noticed a lot of people had 9 and 10 players play. Some people were locked out for 11. So hopefully if Aubameyang can haul tomorrow or even just get me up to 45 points because I'll be on 30, I think I'll be on 39 after bonus, won't I? 4 from Salah. Yes, I'll be on 39. So if Aubameyang can even just get a goal tomorrow and get up to about 6 against Watford, and I know Watford, I was a bit disappointed to see Watford sack their manager because I think it'd been a lovely fixture. Obviously, with the old manager going back in there, you'd have to fancy Watford to maybe have a bit of resurgence. I personally think they're not as good when they're missing Troy Deeney, so hopefully Aubameyang can get something tomorrow. And Daniel James with his did he get 2 points or didn't he get booked? Oh no, because he got 3. Yeah, of course he got 3 because obviously they kept a clean sheet. So yeah, he did get 2 points. I know he got booked late on, and I think he had a chance with his right foot that he put just over. And a few people that I could have gone to Old Trafford with today said he did all right. So yeah, I think the view from Old Trafford from the people that I know that weren't really happy with obviously Maguire and Bissaka. And even Ashley Young didn't have a bad game apparently. And if someone said to you, United would keep a clean sheet with the scenario there and against a Leicester team that everyone seems to fancy, it's just a crazy weekend of football. You just can't fathom what's going to happen in terms of results. You can plan over the international break, 2 weeks, and you think this is going to happen, that's going to happen, and you can't see this, and you just can't plan for it. And I think sometimes you just think it's going to be pure set out in stone how it's going to go. You know how it's going to go, and then you get blown up in the face. And I've seen a lot of despondent tweets out there, and people moaning, and people angry with it, and you just gotta take the rough with the smooth. I've had a shocking season so far compared to last year. I think I'm 112 points behind where I was this time last year. But if you could all read the future, you'd all give the lottery numbers and we'd all be millionaires and we'd all be laughing, wouldn't we? So yeah, you just got to take a pinch of salt. Just touching on the other fixtures that I didn't, because I haven't got any players in, was Sheffield United Southampton. My friend's top of one of our leagues and he triple captained Aguero and he hasn't changed his team. And he started Billy Sharp up front, who was on for 1 point and he got sent off. So unfortunately for you, Sog, you've had a bit of a stinker there, mate, but you should change your team, so no comment. Tottenham. Who'd have thought Tottenham winning 4-0? Like, at the start of the season, I was really high on Harry Kane for 11 mil. And previous years, he's been fantasy banker. But, this year I was kind of put off in the Villa game, really. I know he scored 2, but when Ericsson was on the pitch and Kane was playing his back to goal so much. He proved for England at times. When he's in the box, playing in the box, he's scoring goals. But for Tottenham, I just don't see that same threat. I don't see that same danger. And if you said to me, like at the start of the season, or even last season, or season before that, Tottenham would beat Crystal Palace at home today 4-0, and the best you could hope for from Harry Kane was 1 assist, I'd have laughed in your face. But there's no one really making comment on it. I remember, the hype from Harry Kane, people be behind the sofas, trying to hide the fact they haven't got Kane as captain at home to Palace. Whereas now he kind of seems to go as a little bit of an afterthought. So it's definitely one to monitor. I could see a price drop coming through them in the future, and I think there'll be a price rise on Son now. Everyone's probably had him at some point last season, and he was FPL gold for a lot of people in terms of he was the cheapest option into getting into Spurs, and he has the run up front when Kane was injured, and he was getting points. And today was kind of his hello, I'm back for this season because it was his first goals, and I think he's about 2.6% owned. So there'll be a very fair few shrewd people out there who've done really well today on that basis. And my friend Alderweireld, who I had for 4 weeks, who got me about 3 points, decided to turn up today, get an assist and a clean sheet. So, it's should we say, swings and roundabouts, FPL swings and roundabouts. So yeah, I think that's pretty much covered roughly all the Premier League games today. Tomorrow is Bournemouth-Everton for me. Oh, that's a game you could play 10 times and you get 10 different results. So I'll just watch that one, and thank God I haven't getting one in fantasy to really get invested in that game. I can let that one pass and no Richarlison or maybe Ryan Fraser, one of them will haul, but when do you get it right? Richarlison looked dreadful for 3 weeks, and then he gets a haul, and then Fraser, well, I don't need to say anything about Fraser, you just got to type his name into Twitter. And then obviously Watford Arsenal Sunday, which I kind of touched upon with the Watford new manager and Arsenal scenario in there. And then Monday Night Football, Villa West Ham, I think that'd be a both teams to score banker. I reckon West Ham maybe run out 2-1 winners. I really do like West Ham. I think, Anderson, Haller, Lanzini, great players, just fantastic players, and if they can get their back four right, which they seem to be getting that kind of way, they've kept Norwich quiet, which is looking really impressive now at home. So yeah, but Villa at home, McGinn of the world, and if Wesley starts hitting a bit of form, and you have to kind of say Dean Smith's got them playing, it'll be an interesting game. And I think they're a hard done by at Palace. I think they deserve much better, but that's roughly going forward from there. Just quickly, I'll just quickly touch on my official ranking, or my overall ranking is about 3.2 million at the moment, and it's disappointing, it's annoying because you're quite far back. But when I actually broke down the points, and then my ranking hasn't updated, I think on live FPL I was going up to maybe 2.99 something. When you actually break down the overall ranking at this time of stage, you could get 25 different points. You get 25 points between 3 mil and 1 mil. Well, just over, I think about 25 to 1.5. So 3 weeks you can get yourself out of the hole, and then 6 to 9 weeks you can get yourself right into the reckoning for the top 500k, and then all you need is a run from Christmas to go back in the fold. And if you get your chips right, I saw there was a lot of chips played today, and I find playing chips later is the best policy to run. Last year I had a steaming run from the start, and I got myself into the top 100k from the word go, and I never got out of it. But it was the triple cap on Aguero against the double game with Arsenal that put me into the top 10k, and I never fell up from there. So I'm going to hold them chips on to kind of propel me forward later in the season, because people get restless. There's a lot of players in front of me that are starting to take hits, that are starting to have already played triple captains, have played bench booster, free hits, wild cards. Now they've taken their wild card and something hasn't worked, they're taking hits. So naturally the field will just come. If you stay patient, you stay disciplined with your team, and you don't get despondent. Like now, I could easily go annoyed with something and make a -4 on the rash because I'm emotional, because my placing isn't as good. But you just got to sit patient and just think, let the other people make their mistakes. Let a lot of players in front of you panic. And if you can just say, I've noticed Aubameyang hasn't got as many owners. And in a lot of my leagues, a lot of people haven't got Salah, they've all got Mane and Aguero. So you just take the risk with a certain little blitz of players. And you will naturally will climb over time. So that's all. I ain't too worried about that for now. I will just stay patient, and it's a game. Sometimes I think I think it's a bit life sometimes. It kind of takes over, and you're always checking this, and you're checking for price rises, and you make a transfer based on a price rise, and then it doesn't rise, and you get a little bit frustrated. I think you just got to play your own game, and it's important. I think on a Saturday night and a Sunday morning or a Sunday night, you turn it off for a while. You get away from the game, and I'm quite lucky because I play 2 other fantasy. I play F1 fantasy, which I'm in the top 5,000 at the moment. I'll get a 1% finishing out this season. I'll probably win about 7 to 8 mini leagues, and I play NFL fantasy, and I play in 3 real competitive leagues. One of them's a fantasy Panda league, which is just 12 random blokes from around the world, which is quite a good crack with a little WhatsApp group chat, and that's working out really well, that league. And I've got 2 other real competitive leagues. One I won in its inaugural season, and that takes my Sunday really. Gives me just another edge away from FPL, and it kind of just right now I'm looking into NFL. Once I've done this video, I'll probably have a little hour on NFL, watch match of the day, and that's me kind of done. So I never really get too angry about the fantasy sports, because at the end of the day it's just fantasy, isn't it? It's not real life. You get a bit of fun out of it, and you get a bit of crack. And don't get me wrong, Twitter, sometimes you read some people and you just want to shake your head and say, mate, get a grip. Like, all you've done is, I picked so and so at 11:55 and I took him out. Well, that's your fault. You can't blame anyone else. You can't moan about it. It's life. You made a decision, you stick by it. If it goes right, goes right. If it goes wrong, goes wrong. Don't blame anyone else. Don't blame the game. Don't blame the player. Don't blame the manager. Just think, oh, well, I made a rationale. I had a rationale behind it. I made that decision. That variable didn't work. On to the next one. What's next? It's the same for them players. Man City players, they won't be dwelling on that Norwich game. As the Norwich game players won't be dwelling on that game. Once tomorrow comes, they've got to move to the next thing. And it's the same with fantasy. So I won't be making my transfer until the end of the Monday night games. I've seen there's quite a few transfers in and out for players on the app when I was having a look before I get to the desktop. When I have a look on Monday morning or Monday night, depending on if I watch the Monday night game, I look on there, and the amount of transfers, and you think, what happens if someone finds an injury in training? What happens if someone finds an injury in the game? What happens if, for example, I have Grealish and he gets sent off? What happens if he looks really bad, out of form? So I think some people jump the gun on their transfers to try and beat a 0.1 price rise. And sometimes I have to ask, is it really, really worth it in terms of having a solid team? I haven't been caught out with players yet, so touch wood, if there's any wood around, skirting board. My patient approach will, hopefully always allow me to have 11 players on the pitch that are playing at regularly 90 minutes. So that's that one going forward in terms of there. I'm just going to get next week's fixtures up. Please bear with me whilst I load the computer. Is there a Friday? There is a Friday night game, so transfers will probably have to happen on Wednesday or Thursday because it's Southampton Bournemouth, so deadline will be 7 o'clock next Friday. That's another game I wouldn't want to get involved in. Southampton keep getting 1-0 wins, and Hussein, he's put he's put them together. But then Bournemouth could run away 4-0 winners. You just never know with Bournemouth. It will depend on what they do tomorrow. But obviously Southampton get that extra little bit of break as well. TV game next week, Leicester Tottenham. I think that's a bit of a cracker, but that is on BT. Then the 3 o'clock games next week. There isn't many 3 o'clocks for you to watch. There's only 3. So you've only got Burnley, Norwich, Everton, Sheffield United, and City, Watford. For me, that would be, as it stands, that would be 4 players. But I wouldn't have any in the 12:30, and I wouldn't have any in the 5:30, which is Newcastle Brighton. So Sunday there's 4 because of the European action. You've got Palace Wolves, West Ham Man U, Arsenal Villa, Chelsea Liverpool, which would be an absolute banger to watch on Sky Sports. A good way to finish the weekend, that would be. I reckon Chelsea may even nick something out of that game just unexpectedly, because if they are firing goals at the moment, and you just don't know with Liverpool conceding what could happen. I think there's Liverpool have Napoli away in the Champions League on Tuesday. Chelsea have Valencia, so Chelsea don't have to travel, whereas Liverpool do. So it's only to Italy, so it's not too far. So that must mean Man City must be away to Shakhtar, is it? Yeah, so Wednesday, Man City are away to Shakhtar. I think that'd be Wednesday night. I'll probably keep track of that one game, that Man City game, and I'll make notes from the night before, ready for my transfers after the conclusion of that Man City game and Pep's interview from that game, in case someone like De Bruyne or Walker or Edison's injured for me. I think Tottenham play that day as well. Let me just check. Yeah, Tottenham play Olympiacos at 5:55 out in Greece. So yeah, I think there'll be a double check on Tuesday and Wednesday. I don't think any of the Europa League teams affect my squad, but if you have players are from Wolves and Arsenal, I've got Aubameyang who's affected, to be fair. But that won't be one that I'd have to check on, because if Aubameyang gets injured, you'll just find out with every news source within 25 seconds. But then I want to say Wolves must be playing. Man U are playing some team you've never heard of, Astana, at 8 o'clock. Apologies if there's any Astana fans watching this stream. Wolves have got Sporting Braga at 8 o'clock. Wolves don't affect me too much, so I won't be worrying too much on Thursday, but I probably will make my transfer on Wednesday evening. I think it'd be Grealish that would go for another 6 mil player. It will probably be Buendia if he's come out of the game today, okay, because he's my next man up. But because I've gone low to the back, it would have been Dwight McNeil, and everyone knows my love affair of Dwight McNeil. I think he's a great player. I think in a few years we're getting a big move. But to Burnley, even though their fixtures turn, it is very, very risky scenario, so I will have to weigh that up and make some notes. But Norwich's fixtures aren't too bad for the next 4 or 5 weeks. So Buendia, who seems a bit of an assist machine at the moment, especially with Pookie firing, and I think he could be a way in to that Norwich team without going Cantwell like everyone else, because I'm a bit wary of getting on these trains like Ashley Barnes, Pookie, and yeah, you've been rewarded with Pookie, so kudos to you, but it won't help my ranking out the slightest. And everyone says, yeah, but you're not involved, you're not on board when he does well. But if I was just on well, I'd just be doing the same as others, so I've got to try and overtake other people, and hopefully I've got on Haller early enough to do that. So yeah, just touching on the rest of the Premier League, really, that is roughly about it for FPL. Players that have done well, as I mentioned Tammy Abraham. I'm just going to look at the league table quickly. I think that puts Liverpool 5 points clear. The only undefeated team, 5 wins out of 5 games. Man City, 3 wins, 1 draw, lost 1. And then you've got Tottenham, United, Leicester all on 8 points, Chelsea on 8 points. Then it goes down Arsenal, Everton, West Ham, Southampton, Palace. It's far too early, really, to get too worried about the league table. I don't think Watford will be sticking around the bottom of 1 for too long. But Sheffield United's form is dropping a little bit with a draw and a loss. I know they drew at Chelsea. But yeah, we shall see how their season goes. I think their team, the Lundstrom bandwagon, I think that's going to be a dangerous game to play. I've said it along. I know we've got 14 early game of the season, but I do think he'll be out of that team at some point going forward. Brighton seem to be slipping back down the league after their great start. I still think Potter will be found out, and I keep saying it. And I hope for a lot of people that they don't, if that makes sense, because there's some great Brighton fans on Twitter. It's a great club, but I do fear that there's a lot better teams in the league than them. Newcastle's another team you just can't make them up. They could be in danger too, and Wolves won't be there at the bottom. They'd be too good from there. So yeah. Just quickly, I had a few questions on Twitter. I had a new follower called FPL Stratosphere who had to remind me he's not a Vegas hotel, which made me quite laugh. He was just asking, what's the best week you've ever had on FPL? The best week I've probably had on FPL, I had 126 points one season. That was down to a triple captain of Aguero when they played. I think they beat Leicester 4-0 and he scored all four in that game. That was a couple of seasons ago. I had 126. Last year I got triple figures with all my chips, all in the hundreds. I think I was in the 100 club 4 times last season, but last season was my best season. And another question he asked me, which I thought was really interesting, was what's the best player you've got on early? Last year, Callum Patterson and Anderson made a big difference to my team, but the best player I got on early was Ben Jarney in the 07-08 season, or 08-09 season, and he scored, I think he was scored 12 goals for Portsmouth between August and like November time, and then he unfortunately missed a penalty. But then he moved to Man City, and I sold him when he went just during a bad spell for Portsmouth, and then re-bought him back in. So I had him and Jermaine Defoe, and then Defoe went on a hot spell for Portsmouth, and really, if I took that season seriously, I'd probably would have got a top 10k season, but there was a few too many times that year that I didn't do my team because I was going to watch many games for different teams. And I did change my team at least 7 times that season, and I still finished quite high. But yeah, Ben Jarney that season was a top, with his little finger point celebration, scoring every week. And there was Sylvain Distin. I think Portsmouth had 9 clean sheets at home. So yeah, he did really well. And I was at a game when Ronaldo got a straight red, who was in my fantasy team. But what a player he was. I missed the days of Lampard, Gerrard, Ronaldo, and trying to fit Terry or Ferdinand at the back. It was absolute chaos. But this season we say about the prices, but when you had your Terry, your Lampard, Gerrard, Lampard, Carragher, all these players, you're just trying to fit, top draw, because the lower class players, some of them weren't good enough to be in the Prem. Whereas now you've got players at West Ham being signed for 45 million, like Anderson. Years ago they were like John Moncur, going way back, and Portsmouth had people like Steve Stone, who was like 36 years old on the right wing, but you wouldn't get old wingers like that anymore. You get a £45 million Portuguese player. So, yeah, the Premier League's definitely evolved, and the game has to go with it, and you have to take, you're relying on gut interest sometimes, which is great. But yeah, that was some good questions, Stratosphere, so fair play to you. And I'm going to leave it on that question. I'll be back on here next week with hopefully with a preview. If not, I'll probably do something similar on the Saturday night or Sunday, depending on how the fixtures go and how my weekend goes. But yeah, if you've got anything in the meantime, hit me up on Twitter, Fantasy Panda, comment on this here, and I'll be always interacting. So yeah, any questions, fire away, and I hope you have a good week, and hope you score more points and get some green arrows. Cheers, bye.